Okay, we're still on lesson 3. Now we're on page 104. We're going to shift click to select both the little rectangle and the larger one with the cut corners, and we're going to get these to line up correctly. So we're going to use the horizontal align center button up at the top. We're going to make sure we are aligned to selection, and we're going to horizontal align center, and then we're going to align vertical bottom. Click on that, and that's going to move the shapes down. With both of these objects still selected, we are going to hold down the option with both of the objects selected, we're going to hold down your option button or your alt button if you're on Windows, and we're going to click on minus front. Should be this one. There it is. This creates a compound shape that traces the outline where the two objects overlap. You can still edit both shapes separately. So now deselect to see the final shape. With the selection tool, double-click the same shape to go into isolation mode. Go to View, Outline, and you can still see the two shapes are there. If you click the edge of the smaller rectangle, you can select it, and if you Alt drag or Option drag on a Mac to the right, the middle bounding point of the smaller rectangle bounding box to the left, to make it a little smaller, okay, drag until the measurement tip tool shows a width of approximately 4/10 of an inch. So yes, you can still edit all of this stuff that you do with this, okay? So there it's smaller and it drug in on both sides. Release the mouse button, then you release the key. Press your escape key to exit isolation, and if you haven't clicked off to deselect, do so, and then you won't see the lines anymore. Because you entered outline mode while in isolation mode, when you exit isolation, it's going to switch back to preview. You will now expand the window shape. Expanding a compound shape maintains the shape of the compound object, but you can't select or edit the original objects. You will typically expand an object when you want to modify the appearance, attributes, and other properties of specific elements within it. Click away from the shape to deselect it, and then click to select it again. Now, we're going to click Expand and deselect. You're going to choose View, Fit Artboard in Window, and Save again. Next, we're going to be using the eraser tool. The eraser tool lets you erase any area of your vector artwork, regardless of the structure. You can use the eraser tool on paths, compound paths, paths inside live paint groupings, and in clipping content. We're going to use the eraser tool to edit a lampshade. With the selection tool, select the white lampshade on the left side of the artboard. By selecting the white lampshade, you'll erase only that shape and nothing else. That's going to leave all the objects deselected, and you can erase any object that the tool touches if you don't have that selected. Okay, so we're selecting this. Double-click the eraser tool. That's going to bring up this dialog box that's going to have the tool properties in it, and in the eraser tool options dialog box, change the size from 10 points to 4 points and click OK. Now, Position the pointer off the upper left corner of the white rectangle where you see the red X in the book, and we're going to click and drag diagonally across the rectangle. And when I do that, that's going to cut the shape in half, or in two, kind of. So the rectangle gets cut, the two paths are closed shapes, and we are going to, you can do that a few more times. Make yourself something kind of funky going on here. Get yourself an odd shape. And when you're done, choose Object, Group, and then you can go to Select and Deselect. Select the Selection tool and drag across the lampshade we just selected. Okay, so you get that. And select all three objects that make up the lamp. So select the lampshade, the pole, and the base, and go to Object and select Group, and then select Deselect, and again, save your work. Next, we're going to be working with drawing modes. Illustrator actually has 3 different drawing modes that are available. These are found at the bottom of your tool panel, right across in here. There's Draw Normal, Draw Behind, and Draw Inside. The drawing modes allow you to draw shapes in different ways. The 3 drawing modes: Draw Normal. You start every document by using Normal. That stacks the shapes one on top of the other. You can select Draw Behind, which lets you draw objects behind the other objects without having to choose layers or to pay attention to what the stacking order is. Or Draw Inside. This lets you draw objects or place images inside another object. You can do text in there. You can create clipping masks of a selected object. So we've been working in the normal mode, which is the default. Now we're going to draw a rectangle that will cover the artboard and go behind the rest of the content. We're going to select Draw Behind. So click on Draw Behind, and as long as the drawing mode is selected, every shape that you create using whatever method you've learned is going to be created behind the other shapes on the page. The drawing behind mode also affects placed content, which is anything you would do file place with. So we are going to select the rectangle tool in the tools panel. We're going to start off the upper left corner in the corner of the red bleed guides. I bet you forgot about those. And we're going to click and drag off to cover the whole card from bleed line to bleed line. Okay, now with the new rectangle selected, click the fill in the control panel, because right now it's white, and change the color to a red. Let's see if we can find there it is, 15100. By the way, you have the ability to make whatever colors you want, so you can change the colors that you're drawing. And change the stroke weight to 0 or select none for the stroke. Hit your escape key to close that dialog box. Now, because we don't want to move this, we're going to go to Object, Lock Selection, and now you aren't going to be able to pick that up. Pick up your Select tool and change back to Draw Normal. Now we're going to draw a shape that is inside of another using the Draw Inside. This can be very useful if you want to hide or mask part of the artwork. So we're going to pick up the selection tool if you don't have it and select that yellow-green ellipse on the right side. This button, now we're going to select on that, is going to be draw inside. Okay? This button only is active when a single object is selected. It can be a path, a compound path, or it can be text, and it allows you to draw within the selected object only. Every shape you create now will be drawn inside the selected shape, just inside that circle, nowhere else. The ellipse now has a dotted open rectangle around it, indicating that if you draw, paste, or place content, it's going to be inside that circle, even if you choose select, deselect. So we're going to select the ellipse tool in the tool panel. So under your rectangle tool to get your ellipse tool, we're going to go somewhere around the center of the ellipse that we've already got. Press your shift key and draw a circle that has a height and width of approximately 1.1, just under 1¼ inches, 1.2. So here we go. We're drawing 85, 93, 1 point, 1 point, whatever. It's close enough. Okay. Now, we want the fill color to be, let's see, we want the fill color to be yellow, yellowish, and we don't want to fill a stroke on it, so I can do none for the stroke. And if I select deselect, I have colored part of the lamp. The ellipse still has the dotted line around, so the drawn side is still active. When you're finished drawing content inside of the shape, you can click the Draw Normal button so that any new content you create will be drawn normally. Right now, if you want to select the ellipse or the circle inside of it, you would have to select the ellipse. If you move the ellipse, the shape inside goes with it. If you resize or reshape the ellipse, the shape that's inside will resize or reshape. So if you want to put another circle in there, go ahead. You can add anything else you want. It's going to save. I don't like that one. I'm going to get rid of that one. There we go. But I've got that. When I deselect, those shapes that I drew are there, and they're going to stay with that. So now if I go back over and I select my Draw Normal, that dotted line disappears, and if I try to select those images that I made, I can't. I need to go into isolation mode, and if I go into isolation mode by double-clicking, now I can select everything and I can make changes. But I can't do that unless I am in isolation mode. So I can escape back out of that, and I can't pick those items up again. Now we're going to actually pause this and stop this, and I'm going to move on to the next section, which is going to be editing content drawn inside, but I'm out of time.